Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever reacted so fast, so emotionally, so instantly, that later you wished you had stayed calm, stayed centered, stayed silent? Have you ever looked back at a moment and thought, if only I kept my mouth shut, I would have kept my peace? We've all been there. Every one of us has felt anger push us to speak before we think, fear push us to defend ourselves, or ego push us to prove something that didn't need proving. But here's the truth most people never learn. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is not defeat. Silence is emotional discipline, and emotional discipline is the highest form of strength. When you stay silent, you are not avoiding the battle. You are choosing when and how to fight. You are choosing your energy instead of letting someone else choose it for you. You are choosing clarity instead of chaos. You are choosing wisdom over impulse. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free, and silence is the freedom that bravery gives you." When you stop reacting to every insult, every trigger, every disrespect, you reclaim your entire inner world. You become someone no one can push around emotionally. You become someone who doesn't crumble just because someone else wants a reaction. You become someone who leads with intention, not impulse. Silence reveals people. Silence exposes motives. Silence shows you who respects you and who only respected your reactions. You learn fast who values your presence and who only valued your emotional availability. When you stop responding like you used to, you stop being predictable, and that alone takes away the grip people once had on your feelings. Your silence becomes a wall between you and the chaos you walked away from. And we're going to break down how to master this. I'm not talking about passive silence. I'm talking about powerful silence, strategic silence, stoic silence. The kind of silence that makes toxic people panic, manipulators lose footing, and your spirit rise. Today, you're going to understand how silence strengthens your mind, protects your value, and gives you a level of emotional control most people never reach. Before we move forward, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I master my emotions. Number 1. Silence teaches you to control your impulse. Silence is the doorway to emotional discipline because it forces you to control the very first impulse that rises inside you. Every reaction, every outburst, every heated answer comes from that first emotional spark that wants to escape before your mind has time to guide it. When you choose silence, you break the automatic cycle that has controlled you for years. You stop letting anger, insecurity, fear, and frustration speak on your behalf. You give yourself a moment to breathe before you make a mistake that can't be undone. The Stoics believed that the person who masters their first reaction is the one who truly owns their life. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Silence is the moment where that power shows itself. When someone tries to provoke you, silence becomes your shield. When someone raises their voice, silence becomes your calm. When someone tests your boundaries, silence becomes your reminder that you don't respond just because someone else wants you to. You answer on your terms. That pause, that breath, that quiet moment where you refuse to be dragged into chaos, that's where your strength is built. That's where discipline grows. That's where confidence expands. By staying silent, you teach yourself that you do not need to rush. You do not need to defend. You do not need to prove anything. You learn to observe before acting, listen before speaking, and understand before deciding. And the more you practice this, the less control others have over you. Your silence becomes a message. I am not reactive. I am intentional. It shows people that your emotions are not tools they can use, and your peace is not something they can touch. You rise above the noise without even trying, because silence speaks for you with more power than any argument ever could. Number 2, silence makes your emotions follow your command. Silence trains your emotions to listen to you instead of running your life on instinct. Most people never slow down long enough to understand what they are feeling or why their reactions explode the way they do. They rush, they panic, they snap, they defend, and then they regret. But when you choose silence, you create space inside your mind where clarity begins to grow. That space becomes a training ground for emotional discipline. Seneca said, "A great mind becomes calm and steady by withdrawing into itself." When you stay silent in emotional moments, you pull your attention inward instead of letting outward chaos pull you in every direction. You let your inner voice speak instead of letting your fears shout over it. Silence shows you the real message behind your emotions. You start to notice the difference between a trigger and a truth. You notice that certain reactions come from past pain rather than the current situation. You notice that some anger comes from unresolved hurt, not from the person in front of you. You notice that some fear shows up only because you used to shrink yourself. And with every silent moment, you regain control over feelings that used to control you. Silence allows your thoughts to settle the same way muddy water becomes clear when left untouched. You stop acting on the wrong emotions, and you start choosing what deserves your energy. Instead of reacting out of habit, you respond with intention. Instead of breaking down under pressure, you grow stronger because you learn to stand still before moving. Silence teaches you emotional discipline by giving you the power to guide your heart instead of letting every situation guide you. Over time, your calm becomes unshakable, your decisions become wiser, and your presence becomes stronger because you no longer let rising emotions decide who you are. You decide who you are. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My emotions follow my direction. Number 3. Silence shows you who deserves your peace. Silence doesn't just calm your mind, silence exposes people. It reveals intentions that words try to hide. When you stop explaining yourself, stop defending yourself, stop chasing people for clarity or reassurance, you start to see who respects you without needing constant access to your attention. Epictetus said, "Character is revealed by action, not by talk." Silence forces action. When you pull back, the people who genuinely value you step forward with effort, understanding, and maturity. The ones who only wanted your energy for convenience slowly fade because they can no longer feed off your reactions. Silence becomes a filter that separates those who care from those who only consume. When you stop filling the space with excuses, explanations, or emotional labor, you see who meets you with patience instead of pressure, kindness instead of entitlement, and honesty instead of manipulation. People reveal themselves when they no longer get instant answers from you. Some become irritated because they were only comfortable when they controlled your attention. Some tried to provoke you because they relied on your emotional responses to feel powerful. Some become distant because they were only close when it benefited them. But the right people stay steady without needing noise, drama, or constant reassurance. Silence empowers you to observe instead of react. You start noticing patterns you ignored when you were overwhelmed. You see how different people behave when they think you owe them your time. You learn who only values you when you are accessible and who values you even when you are quiet. Silence helps you protect your peace by showing you exactly who deserves a place in it. When you stop speaking, the truth speaks for you. And that truth gives you the strength to walk away from anyone who cannot handle your calm. Number 4. Silence builds emotional control that others can't manipulate. Silence becomes your greatest strength when you use it to take back control of your emotions instead of letting people pull you in every direction. Most conflicts, arguments, and power struggles come from reacting too fast, speaking without thinking, or letting someone else's energy dictate your peace. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Silence is how you reclaim that power. When you stop giving instant reactions, you stop giving people access to your inner world. You stop letting them push your buttons. You stop allowing them to drag you into arguments that drain your strength. Silence gives you time to observe your emotions without being controlled by them.
You begin to understand what triggers you, what calms you, and what no longer deserves a response. You learn to respond from clarity, not tension. People who want to manipulate you hate silence because it removes their control. They can't twist your words if you aren't speaking. They can't guilt trip you if you aren't reacting. They can't provoke you if you aren't giving them the emotional fuel they need to feel powerful. Silence creates a wall they cannot cross, a distance they cannot penetrate, a calm they cannot shake. It teaches you to stay centered even when others try to pull you off balance. It shows you that emotional discipline is not about being cold, it's about being wise. You preserve your energy, you protect your peace, you handle situations with strength instead of impulse. Instead of being ruled by frustration or fear, you choose patience, clarity, and self-respect. Silence gives you control over how you feel, think, and respond, and that control makes you unshakable. When you master your silence, you master your life. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. Silence keeps my power protected. Number 5. Silence teaches you to value your energy. Every word you speak, every reaction you give, every explanation you offer costs energy, energy that is finite and sacred. Most people give away their power by over-explaining, defending, and chasing approval, and they don't even realize how depleted they've become. Silence is the tool that reminds you that your energy is yours to protect. Seneca said, "We are often more concerned with pleasing others than with preserving ourselves." When you choose silence, you start recognizing which battles are worth your time and which are distractions designed to drain you. Silence becomes a filter for unnecessary chaos. You stop investing in people who take without giving, in situations that demand more than they return, and in conflicts that don't align with your growth. Your peace becomes non-negotiable and your boundaries firm. When you refuse to react impulsively, you conserve mental, emotional, and physical energy for the people, projects, and experiences that truly matter. Silence transforms patience into power because it forces you to wait before acting, think before responding, and assess before engaging. People may interpret your quiet as weakness, but in reality, it's the most powerful declaration of self-respect they will ever witness. You're showing, without words, that your energy is not a commodity for others to spend, that your time is not theirs to waste, and that your mind is a sanctuary, not a playground. Over time, silence trains others to treat you with respect because they sense the cost of their intrusion. They learn that your energy is valuable and your calm is priceless. By embracing silence, you teach the world that your presence is not automatic, it is deliberate.
Number 6. Silence lets you observe true intentions. When you stop reacting and start observing, silence becomes your greatest teacher. Most people reveal their character through their responses to your calm, your stillness, and your refusal to engage in chaos. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." When you remain silent in challenging situations, you notice who respects your boundaries and who tries to cross them. You begin to see who is motivated by genuine care versus selfish interest. People who only want to manipulate, control, or provoke cannot hide behind charm or false kindness when you do not react. Silence exposes them, and it shows you who deserves your attention and who does not. It allows you to measure the weight of their words against the value of their actions. Instead of guessing intentions or assuming loyalty, you witness behaviors clearly because you are not contributing noise to cloud the situation. Your calm becomes a mirror reflecting reality back to you, revealing patterns and truths you could not see when distracted by drama. Silence also teaches patience, because instead of rushing to conclusions or lashing out, You wait for clarity to emerge naturally. You learn to trust the process of observation over immediate judgment. You learn that your power lies not in proving yourself, but in seeing clearly, acting wisely, and responding intentionally. When people realize that silence no longer equates to submission, they begin to show respect naturally or remove themselves. You no longer need to guess who values your presence. Silence answers that for you. Your peace is the ultimate detector of sincerity, loyalty, and integrity. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence reveals truth. Number 7. Silence strengthens your confidence. Confidence is not built by constantly proving yourself to others. It is forged in the quiet moments where you trust your own judgment and stand firm without validation. Silence amplifies this power because it forces you to rely on your inner compass rather than the reactions or approval of those around you. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." When you speak less and act intentionally, you develop a self-assured presence that cannot be shaken by criticism, gossip, or manipulation. People are drawn to confidence because it signals stability, strength, and control. Silence allows you to cultivate this aura because it shifts focus from the noise outside to the mastery within. Each time you resist the urge to react impulsively, to explain yourself unnecessarily, or to chase attention, you reinforce your own worth and demonstrate that your value is inherent, not contingent on others' recognition. The more you practice silent self-control, the more others notice your composure, and the less they feel entitled to challenge or disrespect you. Silence teaches that you do not need to justify your decisions, that your calmness is a reflection of your understanding of yourself, and that your energy is non-negotiable. You stop seeking external validation and begin to trust the strength that already exists inside you. Over time, your confidence becomes unassailable because it is rooted in discipline, clarity, and self-respect. Those who attempt to undermine you will find no leverage, and those who genuinely value you will be drawn to your unwavering stability.
Number 8. Silence builds unbreakable inner strength. Silence is not just about protecting yourself from chaos or avoiding useless conflict. Silence is the training ground where your inner strength is forged. When you choose silence instead of reacting, you are forcing your mind to stand on its own without needing validation, without needing reassurance, without needing someone else to agree with you. You create a form of self-trust that cannot be shaken by anyone's opinions, moods, or behavior. The Stoics believed that a person who can control their emotions controls their entire life, and silence is the core of that control. Every time you stay quiet instead of arguing, you are sharpening your discipline. Every time you walk away from disrespect instead of chasing clarity, you are sharpening your courage. Every time you choose to pause instead of explode, you are sharpening your power. Silence forces you to reflect instead of react, and reflection is where wisdom is born. When you sit with your thoughts in silence, you begin to see what matters and what doesn't. You start noticing the difference between what deserves your attention and what drains your energy. You stop letting fear lead you and start letting clarity guide you. And that's dangerous to the people who once controlled you through emotional triggers, because now they have nothing to pull. Silence creates emotional armor. It builds a mind that stays steady, even when everything else around you is shaking. It gives you the ability to hear your intuition louder than the noise outside. It keeps you grounded, even when someone tries to shake your confidence. Most importantly, silence teaches you that you don't need immediate answers. You don't need instant reactions. You don't need to reveal your every thought. You learn that patience is not waiting, it is power held. It is strength preserved. It is wisdom in motion. When you master silence, you become someone who doesn't break under pressure, someone who doesn't fold under guilt, someone who doesn't lose control just because someone else lost theirs. Silence makes you mentally untouchable, and that is the foundation of emotional discipline. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. My silence makes me stronger every day. You've seen it clearly. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is the most powerful tool you possess to protect your energy, see people's true intentions, and assert control over your own life. Every time you choose quiet over reaction, you reclaim a piece of your power. Every time you pause instead of lashing out, you teach respect without saying a word. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus reminded us that our reactions are ours alone, and Marcus Aurelius knew that the mind, not outside events, is where true strength resides. When you combine that wisdom with self-discipline, emotional control, and deliberate silence, you become untouchable. You stop letting others dictate your mood, your actions, or your value. You stop giving energy to those who do not deserve it. You walk through life with calm confidence, self-respect, and the quiet authority of someone who knows their worth. This is your moment to rise. Take control of your reactions, guard your peace, and let your silence speak louder than any words ever could. Share your power with no one but yourself. Protect it, honor it, and live it. If this message resonated, subscribe now, hit that like button, and drop a comment with this affirmation. I honor my silence, and my power is unstoppable.